What's going on, and welcome back to another episode of Redefining Issued Equipment. And in this video we're going to be going over how to set up the military issued or army issued flick for the Grenadier position. Now, the way that I have this set up is to be kind of the most cost effective, budget friendly setup and configuration, because I know a lot of guys both in the National Guard and the conventional army are still running this system to varying degrees. I know for the most part it has been replaced with the TAP system. However, I do see this here periodically, more so with the Guard. So for the guys that are still running the system, this is just a template or a guide to help you determine how you want to set up your flick system for that Grenadier position, and hopefully kind of answer some questions that you may have. I don't know what the required round count or what the recommended round count is for a Grenadier in the infantry. However, this is just kind of how I've set up a similar configuration in SOF with my plate carrier and a gun belt to be able to run, rounds that I need for a 320 or some of the other grenade platforms that are out there. So a little bit different in configuration, a little bit different pouches that I was using. I was using something a little bit more robust and streamlined and a little bit better when it came down to it, but this is very similar when it comes down to it. Just kind of adapting and adjusting based off of budgets, as well as what is really affordable but a really good product at the end of the day. So with that, I'm going to end up tearing this entire thing down all the way down to the base flick system and then building it up from there. I'm not going to molly anything together just to save some time. That way you can see how this all comes together and gives you the ability to carry not only your mags that you're going to need, but also 14 rounds of 40 millimeter when it comes down to it. So without further ado, there isn't really a whole lot that is going to be, I guess you could say, negotiable or something that can be swapped out in this configuration. You're going to have to be pretty specific with this, just because the grenade pouches are kind of the dictating factor when it comes to this position and role and setup and configuration. So with that, you have your base system right here, your base flick. You have the mesh portion of your molly, and then you have the Cordura portion here at the bottom with your molly on top of that. You do have these two pockets on the interior. As a Grenadier, I don't really know what you would throw in here. You can throw an extra med kit, admin cards, range cards. If you have a map, or if you like having a map and all of that, you can definitely throw that in here as well. You won't have the Blue Force gear pouches like on some of the other kit setups for compasses and GPS and all that, so you're just going to have to augment and kind of push that stuff out to your general purpose pouches. But with that, you have all of your molly, you have your buckle and your zipper for the center of your kit. The nice thing with setting it up in this configuration is if you have it set up here in this configuration, you can unzip this, fold those sides out, and be able to run this setup, so that way if you need to get as low profile to the ground as possible, you can pull this admin pouch off if you set it up on this third section of molly right here, and then kind of molly it down, so that way you can kind of kick the wings or the sides of the flick out to get as low profile to the ground as possible, but still have access to all of your equipment. It was a tip that I learned from some machine gunners, and it's stuck ever since. So with that, I like to stow the strap for the buckle here, zip everything up, make sure everything is right where it needs to be, and then I'll take the top portion of this admin pouch, connect it and molly it in place here, and then all the way down from there. When it comes to mag pouches, you are going to have to go out and purchase a double mag pouch for either side of the system, or a triple mag pouch depending on how you want to configure your kit. I would recommend going with a double, so that way it doesn't interfere with running a general purpose pouches on the sides, and then you just take your one extra or your 7th mag and you throw that in your general purpose pouch. That way you have 4 up front, and then 1 on your belt, 1 on your gun. That gives you 6, and then your 7s, like I said, in that general purpose pouch. But you're going to want that molly on top of these magazine pouches. These are from Tac Taylor, so that way you can add however many Grenadier pouches that you want to this whole entire system. The way that I have this set up right here, you can add 4 double pouches, or have 8 rounds total. If you get something a little bit more low profile, like the Blue Force gear ones, you can squeeze in maybe an extra 1 or 2 on either. Well, you can squeeze in probably 1 extra on either side, giving you 10 total, but it's going to be a really tight fit. You'll be lucky if you can do that. I haven't really played around with it that much. I just know that the Genadier pouches and the 40mm pouches, when you start stacking them real close together, you start fighting for space real quick. So with that, on the exterior, you'll throw your general purpose pouches on either side, so you may have some shifting as far as how many rounds you can throw in the middle here. For the most part, I've always been able to fit 8, especially if you run this belt on the interior of that channel on the flick system. It'll give you an extra piece of molly on either side, so that way you can push these out and spread everything out just a little bit. But like I said, if you're running a little bit more low profile, tighter squeezing pouch for your 40mm rounds, you can play around with it a little bit. So I just purchased the Blue Force Gear 40mm pouches. They're awesome. I have known a handful of guys that have ran them in the past, and I think it was collectively agreed upon that they're probably the best when it comes to a 40mm pouch. Nice and streamlined, low profile, really easy to attach to your kit and all that. So unfortunately, I don't have them here. They're at a friend's house right now, so gotta go pick those up here soon. With that, when it comes to the belt system, this is where you can shift things around quite a bit. Actually, I'm just gonna pull this right up top here. Probably lose 1 or 2. Yeah. But when it comes to Genadiers, I haven't known very many of them that have ran a pistol in conjunction with their kit. So kind of keeping that in mind, you can swap out your pistol mag pouches for another set of grenade pouches. That will kick you up to 16. If you want to keep those pistol pouches over there for something else, by all means. You can also add 3 more double mag pouch or double grenade pouches over here, and that gives you a total of 14 rounds, if my math is correct. So you got 14 rounds total of grenades. You can plus up to 16 if you want them on the other side as well, but then still have that rifle mag pouch on your belt, that multi-tool pouch, and then also that med kit on your belt as well. So that way you have the ability to still utilize and employ that 40mm gun in the event, or weapon system, in the event that you need to ditch your kit and just run with your belt, and then still have the medical supplies to be able to medicate in the event that you get hit. So with that, the only thing that I can say is, my preferred method of setting this guy up, you do lose the capability of doing the split system, but you take all of this at your base setup, and you run that belt system. You take all of these pouches off, but you run this Molly internal belt system in the interior of that channel, and then buckle it in the back, and then you purchase an aftermarket belt to be able to run everything for your gun belt, and then purchase some better pouches and all of that for your grenade pouches, your rifle mag pouch, your multi-tool pouch, and then your med kit. So that way you're just maximizing the space that you have and setting yourself up for success, so that way you can really get the most out of your kit, but still keep it low profile, or I shouldn't say low profile, but low budget on the flick system, in conjunction with being a little bit more low profile by setting up and configuring things the way that I had them set up, where you have these low profile tack Taylor Fight Light double mag pouches, and then you just start stacking your Genadier pouches along those, and then your and then you have your additional canteen general purpose pouches here on the exterior as well. So that's how I would recommend setting this guy up for the Genadier position. It's a very similar setup and configuration that I was running with the plate carrier and aftermarket gun belt. So with that, if you have any questions, please feel free, leave a comment. We'll help you out in any way that we can in setting up this kind of platform and setup for that Genadier position. And with that, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.